Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of our weekly trading game plan for the trading week of February 10th through February 14th. We're in part 2 of our weekly trading game plan. We'll be selecting our top swing trading stocks to watch, stocks in our bullpen, stocks in our shopping list. We'll also talk about how we can use dividend payers and several option strategies to generate income while we wait for our swing trading stocks to set up. So let's get started. Good morning, RT. Thank you for joining us in the chat today. Hope you're having a great week. So here's our Google document with our notes for part 2 of our weekly trading game plan for the trading week of February 10th through February 14th. We keep our notes documents in publicly accessible Google documents. Our notes documents contain links to bonus videos, to the tools and resources we use to trade our top swing trading stocks to watch, etc. If you have not already seen part 1 of our weekly trading game plan for this trading week, titled How to Make Money Trading This February, we would highly recommend you also view part 1, as that contains our market analysis, trading strategies, trading ideas for this trading week. We keep all of our Google documents with our weekly trading game plan notes in a publicly accessible Google Drive folder, so you can refer back to the notes for part 1 for this week, as well as previous weekly trading game plan notes, documents, and you can find a direct link also to that publicly accessible Google Drive folder in the description box below. So firstly, we'll go over our trade updates for this trading week. And we'll look at the charts for these in Webull as well. Welcome, Fairchild. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So our trade update for this week is we got stopped out of our latest long position in BDRY. BDRY is an ETF on dry bulk shipping. We'd entered in on January 22nd at 549, got stopped out on a dip on the 3rd at 551 for pretty much break even. Congratulations to any of our BeachBum traders who also profited and possibly gained even greater profit from the swing or scalp trade on BDRY. We'll continue to watch BDRY primarily in our ETFs Google Sheet. I want to talk about that a little bit. You can hear our previous thesis on BDRY, Breakwave Dry Bulk Shipping ETF via the link to the bonus video in the notes. Yesterday, we started a little bit of a further discussion on tariffs and Trump's trade war. And one of my concerns with BDRY is that the tariffs will actually reduce demand on dry bulk shipping, on container shipping. Also, I heard that the Gulf of Hormuz in the Middle East may be reopening up. Traverse through the Red Sea may be opening up. Again, that may decrease dry bulk shipping container rates, possibly also oil with BWET. So I'm just going to watch BDRY in our ETFs Google Sheet. Again, I think shipping rates may decline due to tariffs and, again, opening up shipping in the Red Sea. Now, if we quickly look at that trade in Webull, let's see, we entered in on the 22nd, got in a little high at that support level. So hopefully some of you were able to catch that dip at a cheaper price. And we got stopped out on that dip on the 3rd. And then you can see it gapped up the next day, hit that resistance level just around 6. Looks like it's rejecting off that resistance level. So again, congratulations to any of our BeachBum traders who my propensity, I tend to get in a little early, get out a little early. So you could have made an even greater profit if you caught the bulk of that swing in BDRY. So welcome, Kaitan. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So just a quick reminder, although I don't recommend anyone blindly follow us into or out of trades, if it would help you make money trading, help you succeed in your trading career, you can get real-time alerts when we enter or exit a trade by joining our Patreon. Post notifications, you can get email notifications, etc. when we enter or exit a trade by joining our Patreon. Also have several additional alerts channels set up in our Discord available to our Patreon members that I'll show you in a second. And you can hear more about how you can use our trade alerts to make money trading, help you succeed in your trading career via the link to the bonus video in the notes. So firstly, in our Discord, I also have a Thinkorswim TOS alerts channel set up in our Discord available to our Patreon members. I set up price alerts in Thinkorswim. When those get triggered, they get automatically posted to the Thinkorswim channel in our Discord. If I do follow that up with a trade, then I'll reply to that alert in the Thinkorswim channel. So we can see when it hits our stops and BDRY and NVDY, etc. See when ARK-K broke its 52-week high, etc. ULTY, stop. So again, and then if I follow that up with a trade, I'll reply in the Thinkorswim alerts channel. It's a trade not directly related to a Thinkorswim alert, and I'll post that in the trade alerts channel in our Discord. We also have an additional channel of real-time alerts generated by our automated systems when stocks are moving up, breaking out near support level. And you can hear more about how to get alerted when these stocks are moving up, breaking out, etc. via the link to the video in our notes. So if we look at the real-time alerts channel, again, another great resource for any kind of trader, day trader, scalper, momentum trader. You can also see sentiment changes, reversals in the market, etc. So we see when SOXL was moving up, SLP moving up, NVIDIA moving up. So again, another great resource to help you in any kind of your trading, short-term trading, etc. You can get all these real-time alerts. You can see various support and resistance price targets, etc. So another great resource to help you in any kind of your trading is getting our real-time alerts by joining our Patreon. Okay, next we'll go over updates to our top swing trading stocks to watch list, and we can look at those in our watch list Google Sheet and also in our also the charts in Webull. Welcome, The Crow. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So here's our top swing trading stocks to watch list for this week. And we've had APLY. APLY is the yield max on Apple. So we've been watching that for a little while. The last ex-dividend date on APLY was January 16th. The next is February 13th. You can hear our thesis, our discussions, previous discussions on APLY via the links to the videos and the notes. Also, we've been watching NVDY. NVDY is the yield max monthly dividend payer on NVIDIA. That bounced back up this week, but you'll see NVIDIA's earnings is the 26th. The next ex-dividend date on NVDY is the 27th. So right before that earnings, although again, you could wait for the earnings, see if they happen to disappoint, and quickly get into NVDY before it goes ex-dividend on the next day. You can hear our thesis on NVDY via the links to the videos in the notes. Again, just another note, NVIDIA tends to beat and raise on earnings. They tend to have a positive reaction to earnings, and then Jensen Huang comes out and hypes it up. So they tend to do well on their earnings. If it happens to disappoint, might be a good opportunity to get into NVDY. Also, we were watching SARK. SARK is the short on the ARK-K. So we saw ARK-K had been running up yesterday, even though, a lot of those are high growth stocks, money losing stocks. ARK-K's been running up, so we've been looking for a peak, a capitulation in ARK-K. The last 52-week high was around 64.73. So if ARK-K peaks, we get a capitulation, we'll be looking for another opportunity to enter with SARK. So again, now you can watch our top swing trading stocks to watch, as well as our bullpen stocks, shopping list, etc., all in our watch list Google Sheet. And you can get 24/7 access to our watch list Google Sheet by joining our Patreon. We've also got a number of videos that talk about how you can use our watch list Google Sheet to watch our top swing trading stocks to watch. You can use the PE and the ATR listed there, also our buy at and sell at targets, what those mean and how you can use those via the links to the videos in our notes. So you can see we've got our top swing trading stocks to watch. You can see our price targets, the risk reward profile. You can access their FinViz profiles via the links in the FinViz URL column. Got earnings dates if applicable, ex-dividend dates, optionality, also their nominal yield percentage, ATR and PE if appropriate. So again, you can watch these in near real time using our watch list Google Sheet. This gets automatically regenerated at the end of each day. If I happen to add any or make any changes to our watch list after that Google Sheet is generated, then I post those in the watch list stock watch list updates channel in our Discord. So you can see when I added NVDY on the 27th, post that, also send notifications to our Patreon members. So again, any updates to our watch list are notified to our Patreon members. Okay, let me grab a quick drink and we'll go over our bullpen stocks. Welcome, Gerald Fitz. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Okay, before I go to our bullpen stocks, let's look at the charts for our top swing trading stocks to watch in Webull. Just a quick reminder, if you're not already using Webull, you can still get 20 free fractional shares of stock, each worth $3,000 to $3,000 by opening and funding your account with as little as $500. If you'd use our affiliate link in the description box below, you can get your free fractional shares of stock. Also take advantage of any other promotions they have running at this time, and you can help support our BeachBum trading community, which we greatly appreciate. So if I look at our top swing trading stocks to watch in Webull, here's APLY. See, it looks like it's coming down. Probably a better chance to get into APLY right now than, say, NVDY. So NVDY had dipped on that DeepSeek AI news and then ran up pretty much last week. You can see it's touching that resistance line. And we'll see if we get a correction, a rollover prior to their next ex-dividend date and NVIDIA earnings. But again, it may continue to run up into NVIDIA earnings, and then we'll let it go and see how it reacts after those earnings. And we're watching SARK, the inverse on ARK-K, but we use ARK-K to determine our entry point. You see we had a quick pop up to 64.73. If you happen to catch that dip in SARK, nice profit to be caught there, but then ARK-K bounced back up. So we'll see if we get a similar type of peak capitulation in ARK-K to give us an opportunity to enter into SARK. Welcome, Pond. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So next we'll talk about our bullpen stocks. So if you're new to our community, the concept of the bullpen stocks are ones that may not have the setup to warrant inclusion in our top swing trading stocks to watch right now, but I've identified that they may in the near future, so we put them in the bullpen. If their setup improves and we put them in the game, move them up to our top swing trading stocks to watch. If they break down or run away, then we just take them out of the bullpen and we revisit them again in the future. So one of the additions to our bullpen for this week is the yield max on Google, GOOY. So Google had somewhat disappointing earnings in their cloud growth. So it took a significant dip after their earnings report. So I started to look at GOOY, look at the total return in that. We'll also look at it in our Dividend Payers Google sheet, and we'll look at the total return for GOOY. But I thought that might be interesting if it continues to come down some, still relatively high. But if, again, we get further downside in Google and the mega cap techs, etc., might have an opportunity to pick up GOOY, get monthly dividend payer on Google from YieldMax. Their next ex-dividend date's the 20th. You see the last dividend was about 33 cents. Again, you can hear our discussion of GOOY as well via the link to the video in the notes. We've been watching MED for a while and Medifast. It hasn't really gone anywhere. We sold puts at 15 on MED. Those will expire on the 21st, and so I haven't pursued buying shares. We'll just kind of see how that works out with those puts right now. You can hear our thesis, our due diligence on Medifast, MED, via the link to the bonus video in the notes. METC, Ramaco Resources, again, a coking coal and rare earth play. And there was further news, further restrictions out of China on rare earth. Didn't seem to affect METC a whole lot. I think this is much more of an under the radar rare earth play. I did run up a little bit. If we get a correction, I'd like to pick up a position in the METC to play both this coal and rare earth elements thesis. Again, you can hear a previous discussion on METC via the link to the bonus video in the notes. Also, Papa John's, PZZA had run up. Looks like it's rolling over a little bit. Was a double bottom in FinViz in early January. So we added that to our database, dividend payers and puts, Google Sheets back in January. You can hear our previous thesis on why we're watching PZZA, Papa John's, via the link to the bonus video in the notes. And Tatron Components we've been watching for quite a while. Again, kind of low float, choppy stock. You can hear our thesis. We've traded Tatron in the past profitably several times, so you can hear our thesis on Tatron via the several videos also in the notes. So we can also watch our bullpen stocks in near real time in our watch list Google sheet, so it makes it much easier for me to trade directly right off of our bullpen stocks from the bullpen sheet in our watch list Google sheet. You can also see our price targets, risk reward profile, ex-dividends, earnings, etc., optionality. So we can see Tatron's the only one that's not optionable. Also PEs and ATRs, so the ATR to help you set stop losses, take profit levels, etc. So again, you can also see all of our bullpen stocks in our watch list Google sheet. Quickly look at the charts of our bullpen stocks. So here's GOOY, again, the yield max on Google. You see it was down in the low or high 13s. Has run up, dipped a bit up on their earnings, so we'll see if that comes down. See what my price target is, probably the 52-week low, a little below that, so I've got a price target in the 13s. 52-week low was 1405. So again, we'll see if we get further correction in Google drive GOOY down, and then we can pick that up as a monthly dividend payer. Again, the buy the dippers on the Mag 7 seem to be quite relentless. So again, we can just collect monthly dividends waiting for Google to swing back up. MED, MetaFast, again, it's been just kind of oscillating around 15. I've got 15 strike puts on it right now. Hasn't really moved, so we'll just hold those puts. But if you want to buy a share, look for a longer term swing back up in MED. Plenty of potential upside. Hasn't really reacted to their GLP-1 news. METC, you see it ran up a little bit. Been kind of choppy, oscillating around 9 or so. If we get a little bit of a dip below 9, that would be an attractive point. Again, it's a relatively low float, somewhat choppy. So again, rare earth and coking coal play that we like. Pizza, PZZA, Papa John's. Again, it had been running down up into early January. And it ran up a little bit, hit resistance. Looks like it rolled over from that resistance level. Looks like it's breaking down below that support. So we'll see if it continues to cycle down to around 35 or so, and then might pick up a position in PZZA. Again, plenty of potential upside. And Tate, again, low float, pretty choppy stock. Has some defense orientation, so we kind of like that. Some airplanes, Sikorsky's, I think. So again, pretty choppy, a little difficult to trade. Again, not optionable, so again, I'm a little less likely to take that since I can't sell covered calls against Tetra. Okay, if we have time, I'll come back and maybe we'll do some due diligence on the honorable mentions, but I continue to add to these so you can take a look at some of these honorable mention stocks. I did add one this week, which is Elon, Elanco Animal Health. So again, if we get some, this was identified as a double bottom in FinViz on February 7th. So if we do have time, maybe we'll come back and do some due diligence on some of these honorable mentions, including Elon. But again, you can take a look, see if any of those are something that you might find interesting. Again, they were identified as double bottoms, multiple bottoms in FinViz, or potentially as a put, good put ROI case. Finally, we have our list of shopping list stocks. Again, we always recommend that you have your list of shopping list stocks ready, stocks you want to buy in case of an irrational reaction to earnings or irrational correction in the market, like we saw with the DeepSeek AI stuff, the unravel the yen carry trade, etc. Any of those kinds of black swan type events may give you an opportunity to pick up stocks in your shopping list. Again, just a reminder, none of our content should be considered financial advice. We're not financial advisors. All of our content is only for education and hopefully some entertainment purposes only. But we recommend you stay away from zombie stocks, zombie companies, zombie ETFs. Again, we still have, higher for longer interest rates, going to put further pressure on these money-losing companies. Saw a lot of volatility in the bond yields. Again, putting pressure on money-losing companies. If you're concerned about whether a company might go bankrupt, might become insolvent, might have to do an offering or a reverse split, you can calculate their quarter's cash flow positive using our biotech due diligence Google Sheet, and you can get 24/7 access to that or make a copy for yourself by joining our Patreon. Again, useful for any money-losing company, not just biotechs. You can see our shopping list of stocks in the shop list tab of our watch list Google Sheet. You can see we have several of the yield maxes. We'll also look at our dividend payers, like APLY, NVDY, TSLY, etc. You can see APLY is showing attractive. Also have some of the other Mag 7s, Amazon, Meta, etc. Netflix. Got some REITs, LTC, Stag, O, Land, etc. We still have our position in Land. Additional rare earth MP, steel MSB, uranium. So we've watched uranium, oil. Talked about oil coming down around 70. Again, if oil breaks down below 70, we've got our monthly dividend payer on oil we like. USOI, you see the 52-week low on USOI is about 62. So if it approaches that 52-week low, we might pick up a sizable chunk in USOI. See wheat bounced up a bit. We saw that yesterday as well. But we watched that with the WEAT ETF and trade wheat with the WEAT ETF. Yeah, we'll look at all the yield maxes that we have in our dividend payers Google sheet in a minute. Let me grab a drink and we'll look at dividend payers. So I see people are mentioning some other of the yield max dividend payers. I've got some enhancements to talk about. So let me grab a drink and we'll talk about dividend payers. So if anyone in the chat has other dividend payers you want to take a look at, I'll try to pick those up and we can look at those in our dividend payers Google sheet. Welcome to Ricky Khan. If I missed you earlier, thank you for joining us. So in addition to our swing trading stocks, we also use dividend payers to generate income while we're waiting for our swing trading stocks to set up. And we use our dividend payers Google sheet to identify, build a schedule of dividend payers with the total return, yield, dividend payment schedule, etc. that we would like. And you can do likewise. You can get 24/7 access to our dividend payers Google sheet by joining our Patreon. Got several enhancements to our dividend payers Google sheet that I want to go over first, and then we'll look at individual dividend payers in our dividend payers Google sheet. So firstly, I think it was last week or so, we added a yield max sheet to our dividend payers Google sheet. And I mentioned I was working on getting that automatically updated from our automated systems. So now that yield max sheet is automatically updated at the end of the day by our automated systems. Also see we added GOOY to our main dividend payers Google sheet, as well as it's in our yield max. So we can now watch GOOY, which again is the yield max on Google, in our main sheet as well as in the yield max sheet. The other major enhancement that I did to our dividend payers Google sheet this week is I added an expense column. We'll see an AF, which gives us the expense ratio for particularly any kind of fund. So an ETF or mutual fund that has an expense. We added that in column AF, and also added that as part of the calculation of the total return. So now the total return was previously the total return dollars, which includes their dividend as well as past price appreciation divided by the current price as a percentage. So now we're subtracting off the expense percentage from that total return. So now this total return percentage also includes expense, so more expensive ETFs, more expensive funds will have their total return percentage reduced by that expense ratio. So if we just briefly look in the main sheet, you can now see column AF, we have the expense ratio. Again, will typically only apply to ETFs or possibly other funds. If they list an expense percentage in FinViz, then we'll pick that up, plug that into the expense column. And again, now that is factored into their total return. So if we just look at an example, AMDY, so it has an expense percentage of 0.99, so a little less than 1%. So now the total return is reduced by that expense percent. So again, now our total return percentage also takes into account the expense of holding any fund for any length of time. So please let me know what you think of the inclusion of the expense ratio or expense percentage in our Dividend Payers Google Sheet and factoring that into our total return percentage. So also, as I mentioned, we're now automatically updating our yield max sheet. So now you can see the list of yield maxes. Also, the ones in pink I have to manually update. The ones with white rows are automatically updated. They're in our database, so they get automatically updated at the end of each day. The ones in pink, again, I have to manually update their performance, their total, their dividend year to date, etc., their expense ratio. But I manually went and filled in all the expense ratios, all the dividends. Looks like I missed one OARC. We can fill that in later. But now we've got an updated total return on the yield maxes. So you can see most of the yield maxes have a positive total return. See, like GOY that we're watching has almost a 16% total return percentage. APLY is about 14%. I think someone mentioned either Microsoft or MSTY. That's the MicroStrategy, very good total return. And it's run up a lot this year, so a lot of price appreciation there. Good yield too. It was interesting. I was looking at the Microsoft one, MSFO, but you can see its total return percentage is not 5%. So I'm not watching MSFO right now. And again, we're watching APLY and GOY. I also think we had a dip in Amazon at one point. So AMZY also has a pretty attractive return. So if we do get a further dip in AMZY, that might get interesting. So that wouldn't be one. Again, if we get further decline in Amazon, we might want to watch AMZY. Thought it was interesting too that even though we've had a big run up in gold, this relatively new yield max on gold has a negative total return. So also saw some people mentioning some of the newer yield maxes, like PLTY, again, all pretty new. So if I go to FinViz, I can access FinViz via the FinViz column. And so here's APLY in our main sheet as well. Again, I added GOOY in our main sheet as well. So you can now see GOOY also in our main sheet. So again, we see it's is why I put it in the bullpen. It's still significantly above that double bottom level. So as it comes down towards that double bottom, that's where I would find it attractive for our top swing trading stocks to watch. And if I just briefly look at PLTY, this is a new yield max on Palantir. I'm sure some people made some good money on that gap up on their earnings. So maybe in the future when this matures a little bit, maybe we'll add that to our yield max Google sheet as well. Looks like it's got a 14% nominal return. All the yield maxes seem to have an expense of about 1%. So now again, you can compare the expense ratios in the expense column. Again, with the exception of ULTY, they're all pretty much about 1%. APLY is 106. So again, congratulations to any of our traders who caught that big gap up on PLTY. Again, it's hard to tell how it's going to hold up on the dividends. Okay, again, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat, see if there's any other dividend payers you all want to take a look at. Quickly whip through some of them again. We still have a position in AMDY, waiting for that to loop back up. Watching APLY. Again, we're watching GOOY. See Hershey, here's IEF and IEW or IEI, the bond funds. Again, pretty low total returns. iGold, we like for gold, but gold's high. It's got a very negative total return. MJ, again, bounced up a bit. Some of these closed-end funds are showing possibly attractive, so you might take a look at some of those. Watching STM, TLTs, and TLTW. And this ULTY is a yield max of negative return. USOI on oil. I don't think I have, let me see. I've looked at those several times, NN, FN, MA, and FNMA. I don't have those. Again, I've looked at these several times. Okay, that's probably why they don't show in FinViz, so I'm not sure what those are. No, you mentioned those several times, Easy Mike, if you'd post. Not familiar with what those are. They don't show up in FinViz, so. Okay, again, we've got a whole series of videos on how you can use our Dividend Payers Google Sheet, find the best dividend paying stocks, create your own schedule of dividend payers. You can access that series via the link in the notes. Okay, let me grab a drink and we'll talk about option strategies as well. Okay, so Katon, Easy Mike says those are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Again, they don't show up in FinViz, so I'm not sure if they're over the counter or what. Okay, so in addition to dividend payers, we also use several option strategies to generate income. Firstly, we sell covered calls against our positions when they're going up, buy them back when they're coming down, and we use our covered calls Google Sheet to do what-if analysis on various covered call strategies. You can also use our covered calls Google Sheet to do what-if analysis on your covered call strategies by joining our Patreon. So I don't really have any changes to our covered calls Google Sheet, but you can, again, we have a whole series of videos on how you can use our covered calls Google Sheet to do what-if analysis on your covered call strategies. Secondly, we use puts. We sell puts against stocks when they're going down, buy them back when they're going back up. And we use our puts ROIC Google Sheet to help us identify opportunities to sell and then buy back puts. And again, you can also get access and use our puts ROIC Google Sheet to help you make money trading puts by joining our Patreon. So I've got quite a few updates to our puts ROIC Google Sheet to go over. And then maybe we can do some due diligence on a few of the stocks. Firstly, I will be rolling all the February expirations to March as they're just breaching our 40-day window. So again, we use a 40-day window to identify our criteria for buying and selling, or selling and then buying back puts. And it's just breaching that March expiration. So probably right after this, I'll roll all of the Februaries to March. We'll collect that data tomorrow and update our puts ROIC Google Sheet with the March data starting next week. Don't have any additions to our main page or any updates to the main page right now, but I've added some to our research sheet. Firstly, ELF is a cosmetics company. They had disappointing earnings, poor guidance, took a big dump that we'll see, and it showed up as having potentially attractive ROIC for selling puts. So I want to do a little due diligence on ELF. Similarly, some sympathy plays to look at puts. Estee Lauder's a higher end cosmetic company. Coty is kind of a mid-tier cosmetic company. So I also wanted to look at puts on Coty at $6 strike price. We've traded Coty in the past, so it was in our database. So again, those would be sympathy plays on the decline in ELF. So I want to just quickly look at ELF. It's in our research sheets, and I'll also even again see Coty. That'll get filled in next week. I manually put in some of the data, so you can see it doesn't really have a very attractive ROIC right now. Again, let's look at ELF. So you can see I manually filled in the data on ELF, and it's got a pretty attractive ROIC at just that 65 strike. So about a over 6.5%, 52-week high. So it is at its 52-week high. We look at the FinViz profile. So again, you can access the FinViz profile of these stocks via the links in the FinViz URL column. So here's Elf Beauty. Can we see that big decline on their earnings? So again, they slightly missed on EPS. They actually beat on revenue. I believe it was their guidance that caused this big gap down. We zoom out a little bit. See steep decline in the weekly. So I was looking for support levels. So previous support level, a little 67 or so. I believe I picked the delta where the delta was less than 30, which is part of our criteria. Again, big decline, big gap down below its 50-month ROI or EMA. So again, I'm much more apt to sell puts on ELF than to buy the shares until it settles back down. But again, a strong decline. Nice ROIC on selling the puts. They do make money, pretty high PE. Debt's not too bad. Obviously, it's optionable. Not a lot of discrepancy in shares, 12% short float. So once it bottoms out, could get a little bit of a squeeze in it. Again, big drop, 20% drop on their earnings guidance miss. Crashes from hot stock to hot reality. Several rating cuts. So again, sounds like poor guidance and ratings. Quarterly earnings. And EBITDA is not bad. Net income declined. EPS declined. So I also want to look at them in ChartMill very quickly. So just a quick reminder, you can find links to the tools and resources we frequently use in the link section of our homepage. Our homepage is beachbumtrading.com. Without the U, so we'll go to take a look at ELF and ChartMill. There's a link to ChartMill. ELF Beauty. So here's the fundamental overview. They reformatted their page a little bit in ChartMill. See the valuations below average, profitability above average, health below average, growth above average. So a kind of a mixture of positive and negatives. You look at the details of their fundamentals. So 6 out of 10, so not bad. And valuations kind of average, profitability's good, growth's pretty good, health's a little weak. Good, very profitable. Health below average, so Altman Z 602, little risk of bankruptcy. So that's pretty positive. So again, I'm not concerned about selling puts on ELF. So again, that might be an attractive puts to sell against ELF Beauty. And again, we're watching for some sympathy plays. Here's Estee Lauder, not very attractive ROIC yet. But I'd keep an eye on Estee Lauder. Again, they're high end. Coty, again, kind of a mid-tier, not a lot of ROIC right now, but all cosmetic industry plays. Also, another factor to consider in these cosmetic companies is they probably get a lot of their products from China. So if there's further tariffs slapped on China, that could negatively impact all these cosmetic companies. A positive for these cosmetic companies would be the upcoming Valentine's Day. So buying for your significant other that wears cosmetics, these might get a pop out of Valentine's Day or following Valentine's Day. So again, looking at selling puts on ELF, potentially Coty. Some of the other updates to our puts, lowered Celsius. You can hear our discussion on Celsius previously. I've got a number of links to bonus videos, etc., on ones we've looked at before. So you can access all those bonus videos via the links in our notes. So I'm lowering Celsius from 25 to 2150. FMC, again, big decline, poor earnings. So lowering that from 45 to 30. HP, an oil company. You can hear our previous discussion on that, lowering that from 30 to 25. MGA, this is another tariff-related impact is that that's a Canadian auto parts company. So it declined. So on the on again, off again tariffs on auto parts, on anything from Canada. So again, although again, I'm not real eager to jump into that as those tariffs could be back on at any point. So again, I'm probably not going to touch anything that could be negatively impacted by those on again, off again tariffs, MGA being one of them. So I lowered that strike. Bumped half back up to 10 as it's run up a little bit. NEP, I lowered that down to 8. Again, they dropped their dividend. So they previously were a pretty good dividend payer, no longer so as they discontinued their dividend. Also, they changed their ticker symbol to XIFR. So I've updated that ticker, formerly NEP, now XIFR. Again, it no longer pays a dividend. Finally, I want to take a look at Forward F. We've had Forward in our puts RYC Google Sheet for a while. They also had disappointing earnings, disappointing guidance. However, it's currently trading below cash and below book. So I wanted to quickly take a look at those puts in our Google Sheet for Forward. Okay, so we've currently got both the 8 and the 9 strikes on Forward. See, Ford's current price is around 9. We look at its chart in FinViz. Look at the daily. Again, gap down on earnings, poor guidance. So a dip down on, they missed, well, they beat on EPS, actually beat. So it was really all the guidance going forward. They're losing money in EVs, discontinuing EVs, etc. Very high debt. We zoom out on Ford. Pretty much to the bottom on a weekly. It has been lower back in 2020. So it's the 9 levels right about there, the 8 levels right about there. Again, I'm not real eager to, again, plenty of upside. Again, I'm not overly eager to buy shares in Ford. Again, potential fallout from further tariffs. So they could be negatively impacted by the tariffs on auto parts out of Canada or Mexico. They could be impacted negatively from tariffs for imports of their vehicles into China, Canada, the EU, etc. So not a lot of potential negatives on Ford, but we might scalp some puts on Ford using these puts. And again, we can see right now at that 9 level, showing 968 in cash and 1130 in book. So from a technical or fundamental standpoint, it's pretty cheap. PE is very low, 6. So again, from a fundamental standpoint, Ford looks pretty good. Technically, not so good. And again, I think there's plenty of potential negative impacts from tariffs on Ford. So let me know what you all think about potential negative impacts of tariffs on Ford, or if you think it's a good value at this level. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments to this video or again on our Discord. So if I go very quickly, let's see, did I cover all the updates? Okay. So we still have a sellout on Intel. This was up over 5%, and the VIX declined again. Now it's back down below 5%. We may have to roll these over to March to pick up a more attractive ROIC, but I've still got to sell on Intel. Watching AHR, it is coming down. Again, that might be one. It's a semiconductor. It has an AI bent to it. Not a lot of ROIC on the puts, but we might buy shares if AEHR comes down to around 10. Also watching SOXL. We saw yesterday semiconductor SOXL hasn't really gone anywhere lately. Others in our research sheet, not a whole lot. Again, the VIX is pretty low. ELF we talked about. Again, I'm not interested in MGA, lowered that one. Sam Adams, not terribly. That's very low ROIC. SOP, it's hard to sell those. Not a lot of ROIC. Shutterstock's bounced back up again. So I still have that sell. I'll probably cancel that. That's not very attractive anymore. So again, if we get further pump up in the VIX, some of these might get attractive. They were a little more attractive on that last spike in the VIX. Didn't happen to catch any of my sells yet. So okay, just got a couple minutes. If anyone has any other questions or symbols you want to take a look at in the last couple minutes. Easy Mike's mentioning Siri. I'm pretty sure I've got Siri in here. We've traded that, both shares and puts. We can take a quick look at it again. We've done a number of videos on Siri. We were interested in it. With Berkshire, with the merger with Liberty Mutual, etc. Got the daily. See, it bounced up, had positive earnings. So they beat nicely on earnings after missing their last earnings. So again, we traded that dip, made some money on that previous dip in Siri. It's bounced back up above its channel, above its 50-day, etc. Again, if it does roll over and come back down, it might become attractive again. I do lose a lot of money, so other than the Berkshire angle and selling puts, I probably wouldn't buy shares again since that merger arbitrages is now passed. So it does pay a small dividend. Again, we've got several previous videos looking at Siri. Katon says Buffett keeps adding to Siri. Yeah. So again, that was the previous thesis, previous attraction with SiriusXM was the Buffett trade. And again, maybe we'll buy shares if it bottoms out again, since they did improve on their earnings. So Buffett feels that that's a good value going forward. And yeah, RT Siri is primarily a satellite radio, but they also own, I believe they own Pandora, which is the streaming radio company. Yep, Pandora. We listen to Pandora all the time. So, okay. Okay, if I missed your question or your ticker previously, I apologize. Please put those in the comments to this video or in our Discord for us to take a look at in a future live stream or in a separate video. Please tag us in our Discord. We're BeachBum Trading, all lowercase. No other symbols, characters, etc. Anyone else's imposter, please ignore and report them. Also, with the exception of the few channels I mentioned that are exclusive to our Patreon members, our Discord's free to join. And we'd love to have you join and actively participate in our Discord. Got all kinds of channels you can discuss trading different asset classes, using different trading styles, etc. And you can act and talk about trading in our Discord 24/7. Someone yesterday asked for a general channel. Typically, for general discussions, people chat in our party channel. But again, if you're talking specifically about, say, day trading or trading stocks or whatever, you can chat in the stocks channel, the day trading channel, etc. I've also got a suggestion box. So again, we'd love to hear your recommendations for improvement to our weekly trading game plans, any of our other videos, our tools, our Google Sheets, etc. Love to hear your further feedback about what further enhancements you'd like to see in our Google Sheets or in our community, our Patreon or our Discord, etc. We really need your feedback as to what would you like to see and what would add more value for you and all of our fellow BeachBum traders. So we hope you like this content. We hope you'll smash the like button for us. Help us try to get the YouTube algorithm to someday show us some love and share our content with other traders around the world. We really need your help directly sharing our content, reposting our content on your social media sites, inviting other traders to join us in the live chats for our live streams, join us in our Discord, etc. For the mutual benefit of all of our BeachBum traders. So thank you again to everyone that participated in the chat today, everyone who's watching after the fact. I hope to see you all back next weekend, 10 a.m. on Saturdays for part 1, 10 a.m. on Sundays for part 2 of our weekly trading game plans. Otherwise, good luck and have a great trading week.